Sally woke up from a short nap, looking around at the grungy and fragrant alley where she would often sleep. Taking off her blanket, which was just several vegetable sacks sewn together, Sally stretched out her arms and rubbed her arms to help warm them up. Though the day would get sweltering hot, the nights tend to be the opposite, with being frigid. The blanket was only used for psychological support, considering how much shivering she did as she tried to sleep. Rolling up her blanket, she headed over to the market to see if she could swipe a breakfast. If she got lucky, one of the shop owners would be a little sleepy from too much drinking and not react fast enough as she stole some food. Life in the kingdom wasn't an easy life, especially in the southern parts where resources were limited. Being near the desert, acquiring supplies meant that a premium had to be paid. This town served as a depot for nearby villages and towns, so many headed to this location to find a living, but often failed to receive one. Sally's mother was a prostitute who was knocked up by one of her clients and was forced to give birth to her. Even though life was difficult for Sally's mother, she did a great job at raising Sally. The two of them lived in the slums, but were happy to have a roof over their heads and each other. Sally learned that even without money, being happy was possible, as long as there were people who cared about you. As a prostitute, her mother often came home with bruises on her body. Sally would make her mother some dinner and feed her, then afterward apply a salve on her wounds. Even though Sally would beg her mother to stop the work she was doing, Sally's mother would just smile and tell her that everything would be alright. Compared to the rest of her face covered in bruises, Sally's mother had a beautiful smile that lit up the entire room. They would hold each other as they went to sleep while her mother sang a lullaby to help Sally go to sleep. Everything seemed to be going great, even with their difficult life, until one night her mother never returned home. Thinking her mother was with a client, Sally had gone to sleep, but the next day her mother still hadn't returned home. While Sally went through the day doing her usual routine, a fellow resident of the slums came to her house and informed her that her mother was found dead in one of the alleyways. One of the prostitutes that had worked around where her mother set up shop had seen a passing noble pick her up. After the body had been discovered, many thought that it was likely that this noble had become angered and had Sally's mother killed. This was a common occurrence where prostitutes were murdered by the people that used their services. Sally remembered crying in her home, knowing that she had lost the only person that cared about her. When the end of the week came, the person they were renting the home from had kicked her out. With Sally's mother being dead, she had no ability to afford to stay there and was removed from the premises. She quickly learned that the streets were unforgiving and had to adapt quickly. Initially, as a young girl, Sally was able to use her age to catch people off guard and steal their possessions. Neighbors would often tell Sally's mother how adorable Sally looked, so she knew that manipulating people would be an easy task. Targeting visiting merchants and travelers was her bread and butter, especially since they didn't know that Sally was a thief. As she got older and became a young woman, it became harder to catch people off guard. Most of the people knew who Sally was and would be wary of her. Though her innocent features were lost, there were other tools that she discovered. With her body developing into a woman, Sally learned that she could get guys to help her out if she gave them a little attention. Flirting became her strongest weapon, allowing her to survive in such a harsh environment. Not wanting to end up like her mother, Sally stayed away from being a prostitute. Entering the market, Sally kept to the shadows and observed the various stalls. With the sun still low and the many obstructions, there were plenty of places to hide. "Hey Tim, looks like you got into a bit of trouble with your lady after staying too long at the taverns? I'm sure from your expression that your head is also giving you some trouble, huh? A neighboring stall owner laughed at the poor man, who was resting his head on his arms and looking miserable. The fruits and vegetables that he sold were on display, so the owner was taking a short break before residents came into the market. Tim, I just want to let you know that I'll appreciate your donation, Sally whispered to herself, grinning at the opportunity. As she maneuvered herself close to the stall, she took extra care in not being spotted by the stall owners. When she was near her goal and about to grab some of the delicious fruits, Sally noticed a large wagon making its way into the market. Compared to those she had seen entering this town, the number of goods it was carrying was vastly different. Quickly snatching a couple of apples from the stall, Sally climbed onto the roof of a nearby building. Enjoying the sweet flavor of the apple, she spied on the owners of the wagon. The owners looked like a young couple. Both of them were very beautiful and eye-catching. Instead of unpacking the wagon, the couple removed the tarp covering the wares and transformed it into a roof. From inside the wagon, some shelves were revealed, making it look like a mobile stall. On the shelves, there were wide assortments of goods placed onto them. Sally saw clothes, fruits, meats, vegetables, and an assortment of household products displayed. The number of goods that were shown was larger than the size of the wagon, making it seem like some magic trick was being revealed in addition to their wares. As people started to flow into the market, the various stall owners were advertising their goods, shouting out special deals and how amazing their products were. The new couple's stall was slowly garnering interest from people as people started to crowd their wagon. Customers could be heard shouting out offers and counter-offers. Intrigued by the display into this couple's goods, Sally licked the sugary liquid from the apples off of her fingers and proceeded down to the market. Entering the market, Sally noticed many of the stall owners glaring at her. Everyone knew that Sally was a thief, so they were always on guard when she showed herself. Walking through the crowd that appeared in front of the wagon, she pushed her way to the front and looked at the numerous items on display. When she saw the pieces, her mouth gaped open due to how great they looked. The fruits and vegetables glistened as if they were just picked moments ago, while the meat appeared to still be fresh with zero graying of the flesh. Looking at the fish, the eyes still looked clear and not clouded. The gills were a vivid red. Being so far away from the ocean, they rarely received fish in the market. A few times, traders would bring fish, though they would be heavily salted to preserve them, and even then, the cooked fish would be soft and mushy. "Sir and madam, where did you get such fresh goods?" a customer asked, his voice conveying how amazed he was with the quality of goods. Both the man and the woman smiled at the customer, happy to hear that the crowd was satisfied. The man said, "We traveled from a city called Felicitas, deep in the desert. Inside of the city is overflowing with wealth and opportunity. We learned about the city several months ago and headed towards it and were amazed at all it had to offer." Hearing the man's tale, the crowd was mesmerized and imagined what the city would look like. "If the city is in the desert, how are they able to get such goods?" a lady asked, sounding confused. The town they lived in was near the desert, and they had trouble getting quality supplies, so how was the city located in the desert able to get quality merchandise? Murmuring in the crowd indicated the shared confusion after the man's story sunk in. The master of the city is one who has access to great abilities and resources. Though no one has seen the master, those who work under him talk about all that he has accomplished. Even the city was like a mirage that was made into reality, he answered. Listening to the man's word, Sally became interested and wanted to visit this place. Compared to life inside the town, where every day was a struggle to survive, Sally wondered if this place was somewhere she could find solace. Each day, Sally would watch the couple sell their merchandise, and after a week had passed, they appeared to get ready to head out of the town. After the couple had finished getting everything ready for departure, the two of them walked away, likely to get food. Thinking that this was a great opportunity, she silently headed towards the wagon and maneuvered her way between the crates. There only seemed to be a few wooden boxes left, which were filled with fruits and vegetables. These were likely the supplies the couples would use to reach their destination. She hoped that they were heading to Felicitas, where her life could finally begin.